In the shipyard, Nature Craft Hall and Carpentry Hall spent 10 days building 5 ships. Everyone installed the 15 pill furnaces Qin had forged and connected them to the bronze beasts. Qin made minor adjustments to the blueprints, changing some of the layout. Each ship needed 3 pill furnaces. There were 3 bronze beasts per ship, 2 at the aft and 1 at the bottom, their heads able to turn in any direction. Changing the ship's material from wood to black iron and black copper increased their weight exponentially. 1 pill furnace was no longer enough to make them fly, so Qin added 2 more. He also added another fire-spewing bronze beast to the bottom of each ship to reduce shaking during takeoff and landing. Among the 5 iron shell ships, 3 were large and 2 were small. Even the smaller ones were fully equipped, with every guest room in the hold containing all necessities. Qin had his men paint wood grain on all 5 ships so they'd resemble wooden flying ships, avoiding universal shock. Fan Yunxiao was abnormally excited, pacing back and forth around the 5 ships. Cult Master, which ship is mine? Qin pointed at one of the smaller ships. Fan Yunxiao's expression instantly soured. Can't I have a bigger one? Big ships are for transporting soldiers and warfare, they're slower than the small ones, Qin explained. If you want to continue being a fire bandit, the small ship suits you better. If you take the big one, you could ferry passengers. But it consumes more medicinal stones. In peacetime, you might not earn enough from fares to cover them. Fan Yunxiao hesitated. In that case, I'll take the small ship. What will you use the other small one for? Even that small ship wasn't truly small, 30 yards long, 10 yards wide, 15 yards tall, capable of carrying 20 to 30 people. Qin had the Heavenly Devil cult disciples change clothes before driving the 3 big ships out. He sent the smaller ship to Imperial College, saying, "It's almost New Year's. This smaller ship will be my transport. Incense Master Fan, you've entered our sacred cult's bandit hall. I won't say much, it's a legitimate livelihood for our disciples. You can plunder riches, but you can't take lives or commit rape. I came from Dao sect, and even though old Dao Master expelled me, we fire bandits never take lives or rape. Don't worry, there are 360 trades, each with its own master. I'll do my utmost and not disappoint the cult master's great expectations." Qin was momentarily speechless. After a long pause, he simply waved as Fan Yunxiao boarded the small ship excitedly. A dozen fire bandits pushed the ship out of the factory along wooden rails, straining with all their strength. The snow outside had stopped, but with the cold weather, few people were in the shipyard. Fan Yunxiao shouted, "Light the furnace, we're taking off. This ship will be our new cloud-chasing pirate ship. We're never going straight again. Raise the fire bandit flag. Outside is the sky and countless riches." The iron shell ship slowly rose, speed gradually increasing. As it suddenly broke through the air, Qin heard the fire bandits cry out, "So cold, so cold. Boss Fan, don't stand on the deck, come inside and warm up." Qin watched them depart before returning. He brought the Dragon Chalene, Hu Linger, and Duqian Devil King back to the capital. Heavy snow had fallen days ago. Even though it had stopped, the sky remained filled with gloomy dark clouds. No sunlight could be seen as cold wind raged, freezing everything it touched. "We haven't seen the sun in 10 days, Hu Linger said, looking up at the sky. She couldn't sit still in the factory and frequently ran outside. Qin was slightly startled. No sun for 10 days? The snow had been heavy, but why hadn't the sun appeared even after it stopped? He didn't dwell on it. With New Year's approaching, the capital had taken on a festive atmosphere, everything decorated with lanterns and colored banners. Qin entered the city only to see flying ships ascending into the sky. Besides soldiers on board, there were also imperial ministers. He wondered where they were going. Doesn't seem like they're heading to war. Qin looked up as the dozen flying ships climbed higher and higher, heading straight up rather than horizontally. He was bewildered. He returned to Imperial College, where many scholars discussed New Year's. No one mentioned why the ministers had flown into the clouds. Some scholars talked about the flying ship docked in front of scholars' residence. I wonder which rich young master actually got a flying ship for transport. The next day, the sky remained gloomy. Gu Linwan gathered all the Imperial College scholars and announced, "The Emperor has declared a New Year's holiday. You may all return home." The entire mountain erupted in cheers. Qin looked up and saw several more flying ships rising into the sky, climbing ever higher. Meanwhile, aboard the cloud-chasing pirate ship, Fan Yunxiao stood at the bow, trembling as he picked an icicle hanging from his nose, looking down. "Second brother, where are we now?" A fire bandit looked down, distinguishing the terrain. We've already reached Li River. Why is it snowing over Li River too? Fan Yunxiao was astonished. Pointing at the snow-blanketed mountains, he said, that's not right, Li River is at the southernmost border. Even in deep winter, it's usually bare. Why has snow covered even this place this year? Most of the fire bandits came up from the hold, looking down and clicking their tongues in wonder. Suddenly Fan Yunxiao's expression shifted. He hurriedly asked, we're thousands of miles from the capital, right? Have any of you seen the sun? The dozen bandits looked at one another and shook their heads. Fan Yunxiao drew a cold breath and stared at the gloomy clouds above. A cloud covering a radius of a few thousand miles? Could this be an ordinary cloud? And this snow, even the southern border is buried. This coming year won't be peaceful. It'll be a year of disaster, with starving people everywhere. When people starve with nothing to eat, they'll rebel. I thought we'd earn good money during a few peaceful years. Second brother, maximize the pill furnaces, let's keep heading south. Over 2 hours later, the cloud-chasing pirate ship flew out beyond the southern border, above the southern sea. Suddenly brilliant light dazzled their eyes. As they flew toward it, they were met with a blazing sun shining freely, illuminating the sea surface like a sapphire. Fan Yunxiao turned back to look and drew a deep breath. An incomparably massive gloomy cloud shrouded the entire territory of the Eternal Peace Empire. Back at Imperial College, Qin Mu packed his luggage, preparing to return to Great Ruins, when a directorate official walked over shouting loudly, Palace Grandee. The Emperor orders all officials of 6th rank and above to attend court for discussion. Anyone absent will be punished. Qin Mu set down his luggage and said to Hu Linga, you all stay here for now. I'll go to the palace and have a look. It was his first time attending court. When he arrived at the Imperial Hall, a vast crowd had already gathered, thousands of officials packed inside. Fortunately, the Emperor's audience hall was large enough to accommodate them. Emperor Yangfeng sat on the throne, worry etched on his face. He asked repeatedly, is the Imperial Preceptor here? Each time he heard the Imperial Preceptor hadn't arrived, his worried expression deepened. After some time, Emperor Yangfeng cleared his throat and spoke in a resounding voice, no need to wait for the Imperial Preceptor any longer. My dear ministers, it's been over 10 days since you last saw the sun, is that right? I too haven't seen the sun for over 10 days, and not just me, the entire Eternal Peace Empire hasn't seen the sun for over 10 days. I've received memorials from officials across the realm, snow is falling everywhere. From the northern desert to the southern sky, from Sunrise Island in the east to Secret Waters Pass in the west, heavy snow for 6 or 7 days straight. The Emperor rose from the dragon throne, pointing upward with a trembling finger. A cloud has covered the entire territory of our Eternal Peace Empire. At his words, the hall erupted in buzzing discussions. A single cloud covering the entire empire was nearly impossible, yet it had happened. The Eternal Peace Empire spanned 90,000 miles east to west and 80,000 miles north to south. For the entire territory to be under snow for 6 or 7 continuous days was something that should have been impossible. Divine arts practitioners could summon wind and rain, but only over small areas. They could never control a spell covering the entire empire. Yet this was no natural disaster. It rarely snowed south of Gold River, south of Surging River. Rain and cold were even more impossible. At Li River, all 4 seasons were like summer, snow was impossible there. And yet snow had fallen across the entire empire simultaneously. Emperor Yangfeng coughed, quieting the ministers. Minister of Agriculture, many ministers probably don't understand how frightening this snow is. Explain it to them. An old minister stepped forward, the Minister of Agriculture, responsible for agriculture across the empire. He bowed and said, Your Majesty, ministers, this snow disaster won't affect next year's harvest in northern villages. They're accustomed to winter and prepared. The crucial issue is the south. After this heavy snow, southern villages will likely be frozen clean. When next year comes, the south will most likely have no harvest at all. The Minister of Revenue immediately asked, Minister of Agriculture, when you say the south, what area do you mean? Everything south of Gold River. All the ministers drew sharp breaths. Even Qin Mu was shocked. He had a geographic map of the Eternal Peace Empire. Gold River originated in the Great Ruins and stretched tens of thousands of miles east before entering the ocean. The land south of Gold River comprised 2/3 of the empire. This meant 2/3 of the empire's land would have no harvest. This, Your Majesty, I believe we should channel rations and fodder from all regions to the south, preparing for disaster relief. The Grand Servant stepped forward and bowed. The south just went through war, many counties still need relief. I fear their rations are already depleted. May your Majesty channel rations from the north to save those affected by the disaster. The Minister of Agriculture sighed. As of now, we can't channel anything. You may not know, but war has depleted rations nearly everywhere. If we channel rations south now, they'll only be eaten by starving people. Once those rations are gone, we won't even have grain left to plant, and when autumn comes, there will be nothing to eat. Grand servant, when starving people have nothing to eat, they'll start eating humans. Are we supposed to just let the southerners starve? The Minister of Agriculture said provisions must be transported south, but in limited quantities, just enough for survival. There are granaries in the south, but they belong to influential families and landlords. If we try to touch their provisions, I fear they'll incite disaster victims to rebel. Your Majesty! Emperor Yanfeng's expression darkened. I'll deal with the influential families and landlords' provisions. Continue. Yes. Besides the south, another huge disaster looms. The north is normally cold in winter, but it's even colder this year. Traveling through several northern counties, I found farmers chopping down trees to burn for warmth, clearing many forests. For the north, which can normally endure cold, to resort to this, you can imagine the situation in the south. If southern forests are completely cleared, mountain torrents, landslides, and floods will certainly become endless. Natural disaster can lead to man-made disaster, and man-made disaster can lead to more natural disasters. But if we forbid victims from chopping trees for warmth, countless will freeze to death. Then, I fear most families will die. Emperor Yanfeng let out a deep breath. The ministers fell silent, so quiet that breathing itself became jarring. If they didn't chop trees to burn, farmers would freeze. If they did, more disasters would follow. A snow disaster had forced a mighty empire into a cruel dilemma. The Minister of Agriculture continued, the crucial point is, we don't know how long this cloud will last. If it disperses in a few days, we can minimize damage. If it doesn't, the empire is in danger. I understand. Emperor Yanfeng leaned back, looking powerless. Now, my dear ministers, do you understand how dangerous the situation is? Recently, some rebels rose up, but I remained unworried. I knew they'd amount to nothing. The imperial preceptor and you ministers would eradicate them. But this snow disaster, this cloud, they will break our eternal peace's fate. Dear ministers, do you have a solution? All civil and military ministers fell silent. Even with their remarkable abilities, they couldn't blow away the cloud or melt the snow. Emperor Yanfeng looked at his ministers, anger and anxiety burning in his heart. Snow, a single cloud, was it going to tear this empire apart, destroy 100 years of effort? A civil official said, I believe this is because the imperial preceptor's reforms have angered heaven. Emperor Yanfeng erupted. Drag him out and execute him. The official immediately knelt, crying out desperately, Your Majesty! Heaven has its heavenly laws. The imperial preceptor's reforms seek to change those laws, thus heaven is angered. The people will suffer heaven's wrath, unable to do anything. Your Majesty! Gods! Emperor Yanfeng was furious. A disaster is upon our empire, and you still seek to delude people with lies? If I don't execute you now, must I do it myself? The audience hall guards dragged the official away. His cries gradually faded. Emperor Yanfeng paced anxiously, suppressing his anger. I want capable ministers who can work, not useless puppets who only know how to slander. These reforms are what I want, not just what the imperial preceptor wants. If heaven is angered, let it be angry at me, let me suffer. The imperial preceptor is a capable minister, not just in 500 years, but within 1 or 2,000 years, he's a rarity. All of you, think of a solution for me. If you can't, none of you need go home, none of you need celebrate New Year's. Your Majesty, why not store away the cloud? A voice asked from the hall. Since you can't chase it away, why not just store it? All ministers looked toward the speaker. Emperor Yanfeng's gaze followed. Palace Grandee. What great idea do you have? Share it with us. Qin Mu said, I've seen fire bottle goods in the army. Soldiers store true fire in them and release it in battle. When the Hall of Supreme Healing's mistake paralyzed the entire Imperial College, the former Grand Chancellor used a bottle good to store the anesthetic and save the college. I wondered, could we use similar treasures to store away this dark cloud? Emperor Yanfeng looked at General of Heavenly Strategies and asked, General Qin, could this work? General of Heavenly Strategies, Qin Zhen, head of the generals and sect master of the influential Qin family in the capital, stepped forward. Your Majesty, what Palace Grandee suggests is plausible. However, the army doesn't have enough fire bottle goods. Our wisteria bottle goods are distributed to vermilion bird troops across the realm. There are 1 million such bottles in the entire empire, enough to store one province's worth of dark cloud. With so many provinces, relying solely on army fire bottle goods is impossible. Qin Mu then added, even though army bottle goods are insufficient, the empire has many officials who cultivate spells, and influential families with powerful people. There are numerous strong practitioners in the imperial court as well. With your majesty's decree, you could order them all to create treasures to store the dark cloud above. With so many people, county magistrates, young magistrates, all strong practitioners, they could take responsibility for their jurisdictions. With army strong practitioners assisting in each area, we could mostly eliminate the dark cloud. Emperor Yang Feng pondered. Mobilizing all divine arts practitioners across the empire to eliminate the cloud would be difficult. Some wandering divine arts practitioners in the martial world don't obey imperial orders. Then your majesty must lead by example, said Qin Mu. If your majesty leaves the capital and goes to each province to store the dark cloud, the people will naturally follow. Most civil and military officials exchanged glances. If the emperor left the capital, remnants of the sects whose rebellion had just been quelled would likely take the chance to assassinate him. The Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor had gone to great ruins and been ambushed, returning in failure. If the emperor left the capital, he would surely face assassination attempts. Just as everyone was about to object, Emperor Yanfeng's eyes lit up. Right. Minister Qin, do you have any other ideas for handling the snow disaster? The snow disaster has already arrived. I'm helpless against it. I've heard a saying, the path of a sage is no different from that of common people. With so many divine arts practitioners in the world, if the sun came out and melted the snow, you could have them personally help clear frozen villages. They could help plant crops again. There might even be a harvest next year. If there's no wind, invite them to send wind. If weeds grow, invite them to remove weeds. If insects appear, invite them to eliminate insects. If frost comes, invite them to use fire against it. Your Majesty, these are devil's words. A civil official trembled with anger as he stepped forward. Your Majesty, what Palace Grandee says are devil's words. They will damage the country and harm the people. He should be executed on the spot. Emperor Yang Feng smiled. His words are very correct. Why are they devil's words? They wouldn't damage the country or harm the people. They would heal the country and save the people. Your position is revoked. Go home and reflect. Minister Qin, what other good strategies do you have? Qin Mu pondered. Your Majesty could also order the Minister of Sky Supervision to monitor weather in all areas. In flood years, store rainwater in spirit treasures like bottle goods. In hurricane years, store winds in spirit treasures. Store tornadoes, hail, lightning, all of them for our own use. If drought strikes, release the rain. If we fight other countries, release hail, snow, lightning, and tornadoes. This way, we could handle our own weather and attack enemy nations. This snow disaster nearly destroyed our glorious empire. If this kind of meteorological divine art were used on an enemy country, which could withstand it? Your Majesty, controlling meteorology defies heavenly laws. These are truly devil's words. Another civil official stepped forward, kowtowing until his head bled. These are true devil's words that will destroy our empire. Your Majesty, please kill this demon of the devil path. You're removed from your position. Emperor Yang Feng waved his hand, smiling. If you have no ideas, don't spout rubbish and slander Palace Grandee. What's the point of paying you a high salary each month? This snow cloud is what's destroying our empire. Guards, drag him out. Palace Grandee, talk is easy, action is hard. You'll accompany me for disaster relief. Qin Mu hesitated, embarrassed. I still need to go home for New Year's. I can recommend some people who could help your Majesty. Emperor Yang Feng laughed heartily, feeling the dark cloud over his heart disperse. He waved his hand. Approved. That's fine, I need people now. If those you recommend are truly useful, I won't leave you wanting. Duke Wei's heart trembled slightly. Heavenly Devil cult is about to enter the imperial court. Speaking of which, I'm now a heavenly king of Heavenly Devil cult and have long been in the imperial court. This young cult master really knows how to curry favor. With the imperial preceptor absent these days, he's taking the chance to plant his people. If the imperial preceptor stays away for a few years, even the emperor might become part of Heavenly Devil cult. Where exactly did the imperial preceptor go? He's been on such a long tour with his wife, doesn't even bother to return when such a huge thing has happened. This cloud is big enough, yet not big enough. This cloud and snow in the Eternal Peace Empire are more like a warning. In the west, atop majestic Mount Meru, the golden-topped Great Thunderclap Monastery stood tall above the clouds. Old Rulai gazed toward the territory of the Eternal Peace Empire. He could see the sun shining with golden brilliance, making the sea-sized cloud abnormally bright. Once, in the long history of Great Thunderclap Monastery, we witnessed such a meteorological attack. Below old Rulai's seat, numerous bodhisattvas, venerables, and arhats stood in great numbers, listening to his words. That meteorological attack was even larger than this one. It brought heavy snow and a similar dark cloud. The people had no way to make a living, resulting in natural disasters year after year. Only heaven knows how many died. Venerable Ku, fetch the Emptiness-era Morning Emperor scriptures from the depository of Buddhist texts and turn to page 1367. A monk with a worried frown stood and departed. After a moment, Venerable Ku returned carrying a thick scripture, opening it to the page old Rulai had mentioned. Emptiness Era, Morning Emperor Year 6420, changes in meteorological phenomena. Snow fell for 30 days. Cloud covered 80,000 miles. No sun could be seen. Starving people everywhere. Bandits rising in all places. Morning Emperor ordered the gods and dragon kings to eliminate them. Morning Emperor Year 6430, meteors descended from the sky. Meteor showers like floods. Tens of thousands of volcanoes erupted. The earth trembled. 1,000 fissures opened. Rivers dried up. The ocean emptied. The next year, the sun disappeared. No light from the two heavenly bodies. Behind old Rulai, Teacher Po and the rest trembled. They cried out, "Rulai, this is great ruins." Old Rulai turned his head back, gazing toward the vast uncivilized territory behind Mount Meru. This ancient scroll records the final moment of the divine kingdom of great ruins. The heavy snow and dark cloud were merely the first warnings. Yet this warning comes much earlier than I expected. Earlier and lighter. It seems the Eternal Peace Empire's actions have caught the eyes of those above. Teacher Po, True Lord Tien, and the rest were shaken, muttering, "Great ruins." If the Emperor wishes to quell this disaster, the only way is to immediately stop the reforms and surrender himself, begging forgiveness from heaven and his people. Otherwise, this snow disaster will only be the beginning. Even more terrifying meteorological phenomena will follow. And they will no longer be just snow and dark clouds. They will be meteor showers, volcanic eruptions, dried up rivers and oceans, the vanishing of the sun and moon. This is the wrath of heaven, the anger of heaven that the people must bear. This is too much. Rulai, the Eternal Peace Crown Prince has sent someone seeking an audience with you. Old Rulai was slightly stunned, then smiled. His Highness has still come to find me. Invite him forward. As you command. Old Rulai smiled at the monks surrounding him. His Highness is quite extraordinary. He may even be the savior of the world. The Emperor may stubbornly cling to his course, but the Crown Prince is different. His envoy should be worth meeting. Dao sect's Kunlun Jade Void Mountain was called Jade Void Paradise, a world unto itself. The 4 seasons on the mountain were like spring, seeming like a sacred immortal ground, no inferior to Mount Meru. The cloud covering eternal peace is a serious yet not overly dangerous warning, far more trivial compared to the destruction of great ruins. Old Dao Master said to the Taoists of Dao sect, his pace neither too fast nor too slow. Our Dao sect opposed Eternal Peace Empire's reforms not for personal gain, but for the Dao. Those reforms ruined too many rules, too many principles. They were destined to fail. It's a pity the Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor's knowledge was too shallow. He didn't understand the great terror that would descend. His gaze was deep, but his manner calm as he continued slowly. Back then, when the Imperial Preceptor was still young, he came to Dao sect to meet me. I could see he was extraordinary and had high expectations for him, so I allowed him to browse our Dao sect's legacy scriptures, hoping he would achieve success in the future. As for sectarian bias, I cast it aside. For such talent, I naturally had to discard prejudice and groom him to the best of my ability. When he became Imperial Preceptor, my expectations turned to disappointment. Why? Because the Tao models itself after nature. Most of Tao sect's experts sat and listened quietly. The Tao models itself after nature, so we Taoists can summon wind and rain, but we cannot change wind and rain, nor can we change nature and the great Tao. I actually hold no prejudice against Heavenly Devil cult. On the contrary, I still admire some of its actions. However, our paths differ. Why so? Tao Master shook his head. Tao originates from nature, yet Heavenly Devil cult wants to use the Tao to change nature. This is the biggest difference between our Tao sect and Heavenly Devil cult. This is also why Heavenly Devil cult is called the Devil Path. Most Taoists were slightly shaken. Dan Yangzi said, I've observed Heavenly Devil cult disciples using spells to move clouds and spread rain. During droughts, they'd make rain fall and collect money from farmers. Some used drilling spells to create wells, solving drinking water problems. Others used true fire to smelt ores, extracting metal to forge farming equipment for sale. Some devil cult disciples even collected money from farmers to hunt demon beasts. Heavenly devil cult is indeed going against nature, changing it. Tao Master said, using the path, skills, and divine arts for common people is to change nature, to destroy it. Changing and destroying nature is changing and destroying the great Tao. Heavenly devil cult's teachings are wrong, thus they can only be called the devil path. Another of their teachings to act straightforwardly, to follow the course of nature means to let one's desires run wild, to do as one pleases. If that isn't what a devil does, then what is a devil? He sighed. The imperial preceptor is too deeply influenced by heavenly devil cult, which is why he's used their ideology to run the country. The disasters great ruins experienced will also come to the eternal peace empire. This is heaven's punishment, the calamity sent by heaven. Yet the people are innocent. Tao Master softened his tone. All of you shall go down the mountain. The punishment from heaven invoked by the emperor and imperial preceptor should not be borne by the people. Go and help the commoners in trouble. Save as many as you can. As you travel and save people, you can also find youths with good foundations and continue adding more descendants to our Tao sect. As you command. Tao sect's experts all descended the mountain. Tao Master looked up at the cloud above the eternal peace empire and sighed. This should not be borne by the people. If the imperial preceptor and emperor still obstinately persist in going about things the wrong way, our Tao sect will have no choice but to enter the secular world. Qin Mu contacted the left and right guardians and passed down his decree: you shall assist the emperor in sending disaster relief and storing away the dark cloud above. Send our disciples south to help remove frozen crops and replant. Many will die in this snow disaster. Do your best, save as many as possible. Also, ensure our disciples remain cautious. With such disaster, riots will certainly occur. The world will not remain peaceful. As you command. Left Guardian Ning Daokai hesitated, then said, Sacred Cult Master, under what identity shall we assist the Emperor? If the Emperor confers titles upon us, shall we accept? Qin Mu thought for a moment. Assist the Emperor under your own identities, with the power of our sacred cult. If the Emperor confers titles, accept them. If the Emperor can tolerate the Imperial Preceptor, he can tolerate us. We are part of the Eternal Peace Empire, no need for paranoia. He paused, then added, even if the world falls into chaos, the divine arts practitioners accustomed to being high above will certainly not be willing to become like our heavenly devil cult, serving ordinary people, helping them in need. The Imperial Preceptor once said he killed a batch of opponents, but couldn't kill them all. After killing one batch, another would arise. I thought he was joking, but it seems true. Qin Mu looked up at the dark cloud above and said with a smile that wasn't quite a smile, this snow and dark cloud have created a disaster that could destroy the country, yet they still debate what is devil-like and what is not. Not once do they think of helping the people. They're probably too used to being high above. They think helping commoners is beneath them, thus it must be the devil path. He shook his head. Such people are numerous, and there are likely extremists among them who will take this chance to rebel, or even target our heavenly saint cult. You two must be careful. Cult Master, don't worry. Our cult hasn't earned its undeserved reputation for standing tall until now without crumbling under the so-called orthodox path. The two guardians bowed and left. Qin Mu composed himself, looked up again at the dark cloud above the Eternal Peace Empire, then shook his head and returned to Imperial College. Hu Linger, the Dragon Chalene, and Juqian Devil King were already waiting on the ship. Qin Mu said, we should buy some New Year's goods on the way back to the village. I'm afraid there might be nothing left in Border Dragon City. With the Eternal Peace Empire in such a precarious situation, I reckon merchants will be scarce there. Juqian Devil King looked up, sizing up the sky, and chuckled. Your world is in trouble. This heavy snow and dark cloud has shrouded your entire empire, hasn't it? Qin Mu's heart stirred, and he asked politely, Lord Devil King, what wise opinion do you have? Kneel down and lick my toes, then I'll tell you. Juqian Devil King said, acting high and mighty. Qin Mu glanced at Hu Linger. She opened the compartment in the 8-armed god statue's chest, sat inside, and controlled Juqian Devil King to kneel and stretch out his tongue to lick Qin Mu's shoes. Juqian Devil King immediately cried out, a devil can be killed but not humiliated. Stop, stop. I'll talk, I'll talk. Qin Mu raised his hand. Hu Linger relaxed her control. Juqian Devil King jumped up immediately, spat twice, and no longer dared to be impudent. These past few days, Hu Linga had been oddly clever, messing with Juqian Devil King until he became submissive. He felt a wise devil knew better than to fight when the odds were against him, so he could only cooperate with the demon fox. Juqian Devil King wiped his mouth and sneered, "This is the method of a god, not any ordinary god. If my true body descended, I could also execute this kind of attack, using meteorological phenomena to wipe out the entire human race. I could exterminate your kind and turn this world into the new Juqian. However, the god using this meteorological attack seems gentler. They didn't strike ruthlessly. I reckon this snow and cloud are merely a gentle warning." Warning? Qin Mu was stunned. Just a gentle warning? This gentle warning would probably kill millions of commoners who wouldn't survive the winter. He fell into thought, his mind drifting to Great Ruins. Because of a god and devil's decree, the people of Great Ruins were abandoned and despised by all. If gods and devils do not die, there will be no end to trouble. Qin Mu said coldly. Wife, if gods and devils do not die, there will be no end to trouble. The Eternal Peace Imperial Preceptor stood on high clouds, gazing at the incomparably vast cloud above the Eternal Peace Empire, and sighed ruefully. The woman beside him could only be described as average in beauty, neither incredibly pretty nor ugly. She had a pleasant look and was one of the palace maids rewarded to the Imperial Preceptor. Among many, she alone became his wife. Her thoughts were very incisive. Husband, you didn't return this time. Is it because you believe the Emperor can solve this natural disaster? Even if the Emperor can't solve it, there will be those who solve it for him. No need for me to return. The Imperial Preceptor smiled. Let us go to the little jade capital in the sky. Little jade capital in the sky? The Imperial Preceptor's wife looked up. It was a beautiful name. Jade Capital, a capital city made of jade, the city where immortals lived. No smell of smoke or fire, no atmosphere of the mortal world. Once, Wanderer walked out of this mysterious little jade capital to stop me. Pity he failed. Before he died, he told me I must go to little jade capital, that there would be things there to change my thoughts. And now, I am here. Before them, a beautiful paradise that seemed to have come from a fairy tale appeared faintly in the mist. Qin Mu's treasure ship stopped at Fen Prefecture. He brought Hu Linga out, buying New Year's goods until the ship was full. Fen Prefecture was still peaceful. The magistrate gathered divine arts practitioners to create all kinds of spirit weapons, then boarded flying ships to store away the cloud above. Sunlight now shone in some areas, and snow was beginning to melt, but everything looked even colder. Fen Prefecture produced strong alcohol. People normally drank it to fight the cold. Even though it was very chilly, many villagers went up the mountain to chop trees, using the firewood to keep warm. Additionally, prices had inflated. Goods were much more expensive than before. Qin Mu was wealthy, so he didn't feel the difference, but Hu Linga did some calculations and told him, "Young master, prices have multiplied." Qin Mu was slightly startled. "This is sooner than I thought. Stabilizing prices is the Minister of Revenue's job, not our problem. As long as the dark cloud disperses and the Imperial Court sends disaster relief, there shouldn't be much trouble in the north. I'm just afraid some will cause trouble deliberately." They hadn't bought enough in Fen Prefecture, so the treasure ship stopped again at Lai Prefecture. Goods here had also inflated several times, and many merchants had started hoarding stocks, waiting for prices to rise even further to make huge profits. The magistrate of Lai Prefecture had already begun dealing with these merchants, using severe punishments in these troubled times. Most merchants who deliberately hoarded were dragged away and executed. After 2 or 3 days, Qin Mu's treasure ship reached Jing Prefecture, not far from Great Ruins, around 10,000 miles away. Much of the dark cloud remained, but it was like white paper with many holes punched through it, sunshine streaming down. This place was farther, more sparsely populated. Chaos was beginning to erupt, mountain bandits appearing to rob big families. Many poor people could be seen frozen to death on the road, lying next to extinguished fire pits. There were also escapees pulling their families through this world of ice and snow. They huddled tightly together as they stepped across frozen rivers, heading south in hopes of finding warmth. No one spoke when someone fell behind. Those people would squat down, gathering the tiniest bit of warmth, but once they squatted, they never rose again. Where river water had accumulated, it had turned into massive ice mountains, creaking as huge chunks occasionally slid off, a terrifying sight. Qin Mu saw young people proficient in spells among the escapees, taking care of the migrants. He stopped his ship on the frozen surface and made inquiries. These young people were Heavenly Devil cult disciples. "Tell them to stop looking for warmer climates, everywhere is frozen," Qin Mu said. "They won't listen." One disciple removed his face mask, revealing his dark red face, and shouted to their young cult master above the howling cold wind, "Once these people stop, they'll have no more hope. If they keep walking, there's still hope in their hearts that they can find a warm place." Qin Mu was stunned. He took out New Year's goods that could keep people warm and handed them to the disciples to distribute to those in trouble. With the entire empire in ice and snow, demons and monsters will also come out looking for food. You must be extra careful. He didn't stay long in Jing Prefecture. His treasure ship rose into the sky and headed for great ruins. The winter in the Eternal Peace Empire was outrageously cold, and with time, it grew colder and colder. Soon numerous icicles hung from the treasure ship, its speed decreasing dramatically while medicinal stone depletion increased. Every few thousand miles, Qin Mu had to stop the ship and knock off the icicles before speed could increase again. Hu Linga stood beside the pill furnace, feeding stones into it. Qin Mu maintained the ship's direction, flying very low. His vital qi transformed into vermilion bird vital qi, blazing fire surrounding his body to keep from freezing. The farther west he went, the more desolate it became. The more desolate, the more escapees and the more people frozen to death on the roads. Furthermore, desolate places had fewer divine arts practitioners, so more areas remained without sun, still covered by thick dark clouds that made the weather even colder. The power of this snow disaster was far greater than Qin Mu had expected. The number of deaths surpassed his estimations, and the cold only intensified. Suddenly, flames burst from the sky. A huge snake slithered out from the clouds, spewing flames everywhere to drive back the cold air. Demonic aura poured from the huge snake as it emerged. Qin Mu's heart leaped. He immediately pushed the treasure ship to rise, driving into the clouds. The huge snake looked around. On its head stood a flirtatious-looking man, who said doubtfully, "I clearly saw that brat's ship just now. Why has it disappeared?" "Sister Chiao, release the insects." Countless insects flew out, revealing a woman standing on a cloud of insects. With a point of her finger, the insects scattered in all directions, tunneling into the clouds. Qin Mu's treasure ship shuttled through the clouds when it suddenly came face to face with a golden insect. Seeing the ship, the insect was startled and halted. Qin Mu stabbed out with his finger. His vital qi transformed into sword qi, striking the insect's body with a clink. Yet the insect didn't die. Instead, it grew larger, almost 3 yards long, and squeaked as it pounced at him. Qin Mu's vital qi sank into the Dao Tai sack. Junior Protector Sword flew out with a whoosh, slicing the huge insect in two. At that moment, a chuckle reached him. "So the Heavenly Devil Cult Master is here." Qin Mu looked toward the voice. The clouds behind him were turning red. He knew it was bad and shouted, "Linga, turn all 3 pill furnaces to maximum." Boom! Huge flames burst forth, sweeping through the clouds and striking the treasure ship's bow. Qin Mu grabbed the helm to keep from being thrown off. The treasure ship swayed, nearly falling from the sky. The bronze beasts below the ship spewed fire at full power, greatly increasing speed. In a few breaths, they flew out of the clouds and broke into fresh air. So cold! Icy wind bombarded Qin Mu's face. He shivered. The vermilion bird vital qi around him cooled, and soon icicles covered his face and hands. A tremendous bang rang out as the treasure ship broke the sound barrier. Hu Linga turned off the bottom pill furnaces. The flames spewing from the bronze beast's mouth shortened. She said, "Young master, we don't have many medicinal stones left." Qin Mu looked back. Flames poured from the clouds. The huge snake flew out, followed by the brilliant gold swarm of insects rushing toward them, but their speed was much slower than the treasure ship's.